Heretical is what you would call perfect on deck. This game has been taking up a fair amount of time. I've put over 3.5-4 hours into this game now and actually can't get enough of this roguelike. As you can see behind me in the footage, this is definitely one for the books. It's got a nice, I really like the graphical presentation and the low polygon PS1 look with the set camera angles and the simple but yet addicting gameplay of making your way through the levels, and the ability to unlock more heroes by finding them. So yeah, the basics on Heretical here are pretty straightforward. It's a roguelike with a isometric camera that's on rails. You don't it's got set camera angles, you don't control the camera. You have a basic attack, and you have a dash along with your abilities, which are normally automated in one way or another. So you're only really activating maybe 2 abilities at once, like manually. And so you're mostly blocking, dodging, attacking, and maybe using a secondary ability if you have one. You use lock on by using the right analog stick, and the left analog stick moves you around. So it's pretty standard stuff, and it works extremely well. And with the art style here, you can get a lot of fun out of this title. So currently I've unlocked about 5 classes to pick from. You start with your standard warrior class. I then found a second class, which was the archer. You find him pretty early on. And then third class I found was the Elementus, or your mage class. And then I've also found, as of last night, after beating one of the main bosses, a knight. So, well, he was like a city guard. So, very cool setup for unlocking new characters. And along with that, when you kill enemies, you pick up loot, and then you have an option to keep your old piece of loot or exchange it for the new one. And along with that, you also level up during each of your runs, which lets you pick different abilities that you want for that run, as it's randomized. And you unlock more ability slots by completing things called Prophecies, which is the other major part of this game. So the Prophecies is your roguelite part of this, which carry between playthroughs, making you stronger each time you complete another prophecy. So some prophecies may unlock additional slots, so you can have more abilities on your ability bar. Some give options of more things to drop, like items and equipment that will now, once you unlock the prophecy, will drop in the world. Other prophecies may give you the ability to buy different things in the shop with different upgrades. So you want to be completing prophecies. I don't majorly look at them too much. Only if I see one's coming close to completing, I'll try and finish it off. But usually they're quite passive, and you're going to get most prophecies just by playing the game thoroughly. That's what I've come to find. And on top of the prophecies, you also find fallen stars throughout missions. And what the falling stars do is that is your level up, your not skill tree per se, but you can get more passives from it, say more health, attack damage, attack speed, and things of that nature. It's only a small selection. It's almost like the sphere grid from Final Fantasy, but instead of having a massive one, it's got maybe 2, 4, 8, 12, 18, maybe 20 different things to choose from, and they're very straightforward. So that's maybe in the full version of the game that will be expanded, but as for early access, I think this is a pretty solid title, and I think it's a quintessential Steam Deck game, simply because of the pick up and play nature of it. Your runs are short. If you're not doing too well, you can save mid run, which is really nice. I do appreciate that. But the fact that that's the runs, you can just jump in and out and enjoy it. I feel like this is perfect for a quick pick up and play on a Steam Deck or any handheld of that kind of way you want to play it. I mean, it's just got, I know the low poly art style of the PS1 I quite like. You would think the game would be lighter, but it is still quite heavy on the Steam Deck. We're getting, very varied frame rates. from the 40s, mid 30s to 60. I decided to frame rate lock it at 40 on the Steam Deck, but it does drop below 40. So, but it is you've always got to think, well, it is an early access. You've got to give them a chance, and it's a Unity game, so I'm sure they'll be able to get it there. But it is playable on Steam Deck, and it's bloody good too. So I just wanted to get that out there. These smaller like indie games are getting definitely worth looking into. It's quite funny because I'm ready to look at No Rest for the Wicked, which is looking bloody fantastic. I've owned it for a long time on Steam, but I've only just finally, with the latest patch to No Rest for the Wicked, it's really got me excited for that. But funnily enough, I started playing Heretical, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to keep playing this for a little bit longer and see if I can finish a wee bit more of it first. So I gotten through the first major boss, which was the Rat King. He wasn't too bad to get done. And so I did all the sewers, and I've cleared out most of the town that you do at the start. And then I made my way now into the college. It does give very much like Dark Souls vibes in terms of the setting. Decayed city, deadly monsters, and the plague. It's almost not maybe more Bloodborne-ish actually. I definitely get that feel from it, which is never a bad thing in my opinion. So as you can see, there's the game is definitely slower paced, which I actually quite prefer. Like, it does get chaotic. No, don't get me wrong, there is chaotic, but it doesn't feel crazy high speed where you're just unable to keep up. And there's also a plenty of content. Even I'm 3.5 to 4 hours in, and I feel like I haven't scratched the surface. They have got a massive checklist of things they want to do for final release, which is also good to see. As you know, with early access, you just don't know what you're going to get sometimes. So you always go into these kind of a little bit skeptical, like, how is this going to be? But these guys are really on top of their game with this title, and I really, really like it. And so I just wanted to show it off for you guys, and hopefully you guys want to see more of this. I would be happy to stream this or do a little guide on each class, because personally, in my opinion, after my 4 hours, I prefer to play the ranged characters, specifically the archer, and more recently the elementist has been a lot of fun, and I feel like the strongest class. I mean, there's always going to be balance changes going forward since this is still in early access, but I feel like the warrior class that you start with is, you're in close and personal with these monsters a lot of times, so you're taking a lot more damage than normal. Well, potentially taking if you're not blocking or dodging. And I haven't tried the city guard. I'm going to try him out today. And I feel like the range classes, you just got that little bit more protection over just in general, you've got that space between you and the enemies, right? Which just gives a little bit more of it feels like you're a little bit more protected, which is the case, but you take more damage. You normally have less health as a casting class, as you do have a stats, intelligence, health, strength, vitality, I should say, and you've got all those stats, dexterity and all that. So that's something to keep in mind. Is when you first start, it might feel a little bit awkward playing the fighter class, but as soon as you get the archer, I definitely recommend you jump over and give the archer a go and see how that takes you, because I honestly start having a lot more fun once I unlock the ranged class. You can use ranged weapons, of course, on your warrior or whatever, but you don't get the specialty bonus for that. So it's a give or take. Like, I feel like if you are playing a melee range, you do want a ranged weapon of some description on you, because of enemies on roofs and things like that. I must say, like, the game isn't perfect, even in early access. There's a few things I dislike. One of them is the pot throwers, which is an enemy. They're basically throwing grenades, right? Or flaming pots. But the thing is, they've got, like, it feels like unlimited range on their throws, and they just go over buildings, and once you've aggroed them and you can't get to them because you're fighting, you know, melee in front of you, even though you're running away from the fight, you're still taking that melee damage. You're still got to be watching out for these pot throwers from miles away, which can be slightly frustrating, I must say. I don't know whether that's something they would consider fixing or changing, or if the pot throwers also aggro and they have a max range, but they will follow, you know what I mean? So they can still keep throwing them, but they need to like not stay stationary and have unlimited range, or they have a certain amount of pots on them. Maybe they have an ammunition limit. I'm not too sure. That's a gameplay decision up to the developers. But yeah, so this is a quick look at Heretical on Steam Deck. It's a really solid title, and I'm sure performance will get better before release. So if you want to know anything else about this game, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll also maybe do a class guide and go through each class individually if you guys want to see that, if this game tickles your fancy in terms of roguelikes. Yeah, I mean, the PlayStation 1 graphic style is definitely acquired taste. It's from my era, so I personally quite like it, but I understand if people don't. But without further ado, thanks guys for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.